You asked for more UCAT questions, so you bloody well got them. So here we're going to do some decision-making questions and we're going to attempt 4. And what I'm going to get you to do is try them yourself first, then I am going to walk you through exactly how I would do them. This is to train your knee-jerk reaction so that your reflexes, I'm going to show you what I'm thinking and train you to do the same, so that the reflexes, when you see a question, you engage that straight away and choose the best technique for speed and accuracy. Now, if you want to see all the others that we've done in this series of walkthrough questions, you can check out the playlist here for all the other sections. But otherwise, stick around for the end because I'm going to show you where you can get some free decision-making resources that are going to help you maximize your score. But otherwise, I'm going to change and we're going to flip into night mode and we're just going to dive straight into the questions. Okay, so this is the first question and I'm going to give you a minute to try it and then I'm going to stop and then we'll go through the answers. So it's all here, everything that you need is in one place. So we'll give you 1 minute to go and then I will see you back here to go through the answers. Enjoy. Okay, so welcome back. I hope you had a whale of a time going through this, but this is probably one of the more simple questions. And like I say, I'll just go through it now and forgive me for reading it out loud that you've already read, but just for completeness. In a mixed gender school, all students must study at least 2 foreign languages out of French, German, or Spanish. No boy studies all 3 foreign languages. Place yes in the conclusion does follow. Place no if the conclusion does not follow. So basically what it's asking you here is, from that information that it's given you in this first bit, really, it's giving you a few pieces of information. So it's giving you that it's a mixed gender school, that all students must study at least 2 foreign languages, that those are French, German, or Spanish, and that no boy studies all 3 foreign languages. So you know a lot of things. So I'm saying this out loud to you and thinking out loud to you. I wouldn't necessarily do too much at this stage. I would read the questions and figure out what you need to know. The thing with decision making is to not dive in and do all the calculations you assume you need to know straight away. Just read it carefully and then go on to the question and just go back to double check what you can infer and basically from the question what you need to then go away and pick out back from the lead in, right? And sorry, just to clarify, so when we're saying that conclusion does follow or the conclusion does not follow, what it's saying is if it does follow, what they're saying is that within that lead-in, within the phrasing of the question, you have enough information that you need to say with confidence that yes, that statement can be correct. Or if it does not follow, it's because you don't have enough to say with certainty that that is true. So with that in mind, let's go for it. So no girl studies only French. Firstly, you can say that no girl studies only French. In a mixed gender school, all students must study at least 2 foreign languages. So you know that nobody, girl or boy, so everyone must study, regardless of gender, at least 2 foreign languages. So you know for a fact that no one is going to be studying only French. So that, I would say, is a yes. Right, then, all of the boys study 2 foreign languages. So remember, everybody, again, regardless of gender, must study at least 2. But then we know that no one studies all 3. So that together, you know that it can't be 1, it can't be 3, because no boys do. So then it has to follow that all of the boys study 2 foreign languages. Now let's see. More girls than boys study foreign languages. So it doesn't say anything about that. It doesn't say anything about numbers. It gives you no information whatsoever about that. So that's definitely a no. I don't need to go back to the question for that, because from understanding what has been said so far, and actually from reviewing the lead-in again, from going through those 2 questions, that's given me everything I need to know that that is irrelevant and really nothing to do with what's said. So more girls than boys study 3 foreign languages. So we know that no boys study 3 foreign languages. Again, we have no inclination as to whether any girls at all study 3 foreign languages. So we know that all the girls study at least 2, but equally, it could be the same as the boys that none of the girls study 3 as well. So we can't make that inference, and so it does not follow, and therefore that's a no. At least one boy and at least one girl study the same pair of foreign languages. So again, you don't know this. I would assume that's probably the case, right? But we've not been given any numbers of the number of boys in the school, of the number of girls in the school. Could be 3 boys and 3 girls for all you know. You cannot infer anything from that. If you saw the verbal reasoning version that I did of this, I got a couple of, well, quite a few wrong actually. But I'm pretty confident that every single one of those is correct because it's pretty, it's logical and it makes logical sense. So let's have a look. So let's see, let's put them here side by side. First conclusion does follow because all students, so here we go, it's exactly what I said. It does follow because all students must study at least 2 foreign languages. We said that. Does follow because a school is a mixed gender and all students must study at least 2 foreign languages. Yeah, that's exactly what we said. Does not follow because there is no information in the statement to support this. Exactly. Does not follow because we cannot conclude if there are any girls studying. We can't conclude that there are girls studying all 3 languages. Exactly what we said. Does not follow. And then the final one is does not follow because there is no information in the statement to support this. Again, obviously you don't need me to tell you why each one is correct. You know this, but then we're thinking about tactics, right? For tactics, we want to look at this and go, this one, I don't need to go back and read the question. For speed is really important here. So for speed, I don't need to go back and read this question for the second one. More girls than boys study 3 foreign languages. Again, we know that we can't deduce that. These are the things that are going to save you time when it comes to answering these questions at speed so that you can do this. Like we say, all that matters is accuracy and speed for the UCAT. So these are tactics that are going to help save time when it comes to the real thing so that we can save this for the longer questions because there will be longer winded questions and we do need to preserve our time for that. Okay, so I hope you found that as riveting as I did. Let's have a look now at another question. Okay, so next question, and I absolutely love these. So what we're going to do again is just another minute for you to go through this and then I'll see you back here and we will go through the answers. So enjoy. Okay, we are back and I hope you had as much fun as I did doing this one. No, seriously though, I do actually like these sorts of questions. So in your psyche, when you see a question like this, immediately you want to be reaching for your board and writing a Venn diagram. It naturally just lends itself really well. I'm going to show you the one I've drawn. So the first thing that I will do with this is I will do 2 circles side by side that are separated. One for skinks, so I'm going to draw it now as we're talking. One for skinks, and I'll write skinks in there. Excuse the massive pens, it makes it hard to write properly. And then a second one in a different color. Well, you won't have a different color in the thing, but just for illustrations here, I'll do another one for iguana. Now, the next thing, so that is saying, so there are 2 different types of lizards, right? So we know that both those circles, although separate, lie within the bigger circle of lizards. I would draw a lizard circle around all of these, but I'm just going to wait to see what the rest says, and then I'll do that at the end. So all Devasi, not a reptile or lizard I've ever heard of, all Devasi are skinks. So this is where I regret drawing such a small circle for skinks, because within that circle I'm going to draw another circle that attempts to say here Devasi. So then the final thing is that all lizards are reptiles. Now I've kept in my head that lizards encompasses both the circles of skink and iguana. So what I'm doing is drawing a circle around skink and iguana to show that they're both lizards, and all lizards are reptiles. So I'll do another circle outside of everything to show that everything within this circle are reptiles. Now, here's what I have. So this is what it looks like. Here, if you can see that really well. Like I say, regretting not allowing a little bit more space, but there we go. So now I can go really quickly with this because all I need to do is refer to each of these to my little diagram that I've made, and then that makes me really, really quick. Okay, so going through these now, all I'm going to do is refer to my diagram like I said. So no lizards are skinks. So looking at this, we know that some of the lizards are skinks because within the lizard circle, there is a skink circle. So it does not follow. No, so because some lizards are skinks, so that's true. So all Davartsi are reptiles. If anyone knows of a Davartsi or Davartsi and I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize. If you're a Davartsi owner, please write in the comments and let me know how you pronounce it. But all Davartsis are reptiles. Well, we know that because within reptiles encompasses everything that's been mentioned here, so we know that it's definitely a reptile, so it does follow. No Davartsi are iguanas. So this is one where people might get confused, but look at this. So skinks and iguanas are two different types of lizard. So we know that a Davartsi is a skink, and we know that a skink is an iguana are two different types of lizard. There are times when a Davartsi is a skink, but it also could be an iguana. But we've been told specifically that those two bigger groups are different types. So we know that whatever lies within each group is separate to the other bigger group. So no Davartsi are iguanas. That is true. That does follow because of what I just said. Some reptiles are skinks. Also, by the way, not to be confused with skanks. You could offend somebody very deeply by using the wrong vowel there. So be careful. Some reptiles are skinks. So yes, again, within reptiles are all encompassing. And yes, within that, one of the circles is a skink. So yes, that does follow. That's again, once we've made this diagram, this makes the whole thing very, very easy because we just look at it and we go, yeah, that fits within this. No, that doesn't fit within that. And then it's just bam, bam, bam. We can do these super quick. And then all skinks are Davartsi. I keep stumbling on that name. Davartsi. All skinks are Davartsi. Well, again, I'll show you again just what it looks like. So the skinks are here, and within the skinks, some of them are Davartsis, but not all the skinks. There are still some other skinks that are non-Davartsi skinks or other types of skinks, who the hell knows, but that one doesn't follow. So let's have a look at the answers. So let's see. First conclusion, does not follow. Okay, so we were correct on that. Skinks and iguanas are two different types of lizard. Therefore, some lizards are skinks. That's what we said. Right. The second conclusion does follow because Davartsi are skinks, skinks are lizards, and lizards are reptiles. That's what I said. And basically, reptiles is the all-encompassing. So if anything, unless someone in this situation has been said that it's not a reptile, basically anything that is a reptile is going to be correct because they're all under. That's like the highest group, the highest genu, if you will, or the highest category. So then, third conclusion: the no Davartsi are iguanas. That does follow because Davartsi are skinks. But again, this is the important bit. But iguanas are a different type of lizard. That's the important bit because there could be a world where, like I say, to show you this diagram again, that this Davartsi spans both. You never know. It can always be a different type. So then fourth conclusion, some reptiles are skinks. That's a very simple one because reptiles is all encompassing, and yes, some of them can be. And then finally, all skinks are Davartsi. It does not follow because some of the skinks, as I said, can be an other variety or just a plain skink. I don't know much about my reptile genealogy, and I'm not an expert, but I can tell you from the diagram that that's the case, or does not follow, is what I'm trying to say. It's an important thing to notice here that we shouldn't assume. Yes, we know, anyone who's been around knows that lizards are reptiles, but don't assume that unless it specifically says it. It's a really easy thing to go, well, yeah, I know that lizards are reptiles, obviously, and then make assumptions. Only assume it if it says it. It doesn't, you shouldn't infer any outside knowledge, so it's really important. But I hope it's helpful to hear me just talk through my logic and kind of put in your brain what you should be thinking as these questions go up, because that's exactly what the online course is about. My UCAT online course, it's just lots of videos of these sorts of questions and me talking you through what technique you should apply and how to train that knee-jerk reaction so that when you see a question, you immediately go to whatever the tool is that is the fastest, the most accurate for that. So check out the course if you want to get more of this. But yeah, let's move on to the next question now. Okay, so you know the drill by now. I'm going to see you in a minute to go through some answers. So ready, steady, cook. Gosh, that one was emotional. So I hope all of your life's desires came true attempting that, but let's have a go at the fun that is solving these problems. Now, I do actually quite like these because as it's telling you the information, you can fill it out and you can logically work it quite well. So I'm going to show you again, this is one where in the exam, you'll get that little board and this is where you really need to make use of it. So what I've done is I've very quickly drawn, if you can see that, if you can tell, I'm not a professional artist, but I've drawn a dodgy looking caterpillar, but I basically just drawn 8 boxes and divided them, a long line and divided it into 8. Actually, I've just realized that this is a tax document, so I hope it's nothing important that I don't have online that I'm not going to get in trouble over. But anyway, I'm just going to use the initials. So Mrs. I'll call it O apostrophe R. So you can see there, Mrs. O-R. That might need to be mirrored. My mirror writing isn't great. But anyway, so let's just do this so you can see. So Mr. Non sits 5 from the left with Mrs. O'Rourke and Mr. Percival on either side. So 5 from the left, Mr. N's going to be here, and then Mr. Percival, so, you know, he's sandwiched by O'Rourke and Percival. So Mr. N's going to be here and Mr. P's going to be here. So I'm just going to draw those in. This is what I'd be doing in the exam. Mr. N and Mr. P. So we'll do that like that. Then what we have is Mr. Rowley sits as far away from Mrs. Rourke as possible. So basically you can be 3 spaces away from her or you can be 4 spaces away from her. So Mr. Rowley has to be on the far right. Okay, so I'll put Mr. Row, and then let's see, Mr. Stephen sits next to Mr. Percival. So if you're following, you've got Mr. Non here, Mr. Percival here, and Mr. Rowley here. So there's only 1 space left next to Mr. Percival. So Mr. Stephen has to go here, Mr. S. So again, I don't know if this is any use seeing this like this, but that's how it looks. What do we have next? Mr. Zenner does not sit beside Mrs. O'Rourke or Mrs. Trollope. So that tells you that be not next to 2 people. You've only got 3 spaces remaining. So to be not next to 2 people, Mr. Zenzer has to be on the end, and then Mrs. Trollope has to be here, because any other arrangement would mean that he is next to someone. If you put him here, Mr. Trollope can only go, Miss Trollope, sorry, can only go either side. So that would be him next to her. And obviously he can't be next to Mrs. O'Rourke anyway. So he has to be on the end, and Miss Trollope has to be here. Otherwise they'd be next to each other. So Miss Z on the end and Miss T next to Mrs. O'Rourke. And then Mr. Warlock seats away from Mr. Non. Well, yeah, of course, because he's only got 1 place left that he can be. So this might not be very good to see, and I'll try and do a better version on screen for you, but that's how it's looking. And I will have done this within probably about 10 seconds during the exam. Maybe I'm being a bit generous to myself, but I would do this very quickly. Again, we don't have much time to do this, but we need this to help us understand how we're going to answer these questions. So, which one of the following statements must be true? Miss Senna sits at the far left of the row. So we know that, right? So I don't even need to look at the other ones. I know that that's true. So in the real thing, I'm stopping there and I'm carrying on because we haven't got the time to check the rest. I know for a fact Mr. Stevens sits next to Mr. O'Rourke. That isn't true. We know that Mr. Stevens there. Here you can see Mr. Warlock sits next to Mr. Percival. We know that Mr. Warlock's here and Mr. Percival is here. So we know that's not true. Miss Trollope sits at the far right of the row. Again, we know that that's not true. So let's get the answer. From the information given, we can deduce that from the far left, the teachers are sitting in this row. Okay, so this is what we've said. So yeah, it's exactly like mine. Mr. Z, Mr. W, Miss T, Mrs. O'Rourke, Mr. N, Mr. P, Mr. S, and Mr. Rowley. Okay. Is that what it says here? Let me just check. Yeah, that's right. So it says the correct answer is A. B is incorrect because, well, I mean, it's just exactly what I said. You don't need me to read this. So it's exactly, we know where everybody is, and this is the one that has to be right. So let's not waste any more time in our lives going through that, and let's just go through the next one. Gosh, that's a long-winded thing just to get one question. But like I say, you can just do this very quickly. I wouldn't even, I've drawn this nicely for you. I wouldn't even do that. I would literally just do one, a line, just do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines so that just to divide them and just quickly do, like I said, like I did here, a Z, a W, a T, an OR, an R for Rowley. Just do them all like that so that you can just bosh, put them all in, and then you can quickly see what it is. And yeah, it's important just to do it very, very quickly so that you can then answer the question straight away. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. We'll do one more of these types of questions, and then hopefully that will give you a little bit of an idea as to how you can do these decision-making questions. Okay, last one, guys. I want you to go out there and just really, have fun with it. Go and just smash it for me. So I'll give you a minute, and then I'll see you back here to go through some answers. Enjoy. Okay, so we are back, and this is probably one of the more confusing ones. So actually, instead of drawing on some official documentation, I am going to just use a Canva file. So let me just quickly get this up. So we've got 4 people, H, I, J, J, K. So let's just quickly go on here. So I'll move my face out of the way. God, you must be relieved. So let's just duplicate some, just using a rough file. So what have we got? H, I, J, and K. And then underneath, so let's just read it again. We've got H, I, J, K are a doctor, a manager, and a teacher and a lecturer. So we've got D, M, T, L. So just underneath, I'm just going to put D, M, T, L, just to remind us of all of this stuff. Okay, so we've got all of those things that are particularly relevant. So H is a doctor. So let's just put on there, H is D. Then we've got J owns a sports car. So let's put next to J. This is what I'm doing on the board, by the way, just so that I think you guys understand that. So this is what I'm writing on the board whilst we're doing this. K owns an electric car. So K has an EC. And then what else do we need to know? The person who owns a motorbike is not the teacher. So let's put bike here. So we'll just put, in real life, I can write a does not equal, but let's put he not, and I'll put B for this, motor, because MB will be confusing. So T is not B, right? And then the manager polishes her scooter every weekend. So we know that the manager, so we just have to remember that M equals, I'll put scooter because it's the last one now. We know what we know about H, which is that they're the doctor. We know that J has a sports car. The K has a electric car. He does not own a bike. So the teacher does not own a bike, and the manager does polish a scooter. So that's what we know for now. So we've got all of this written, and then we're going to use the rest to infer. Now, one of the key bits of information from this is we've done all of this stuff, but it's really important that they each own a different type of vehicle. So this is something that can be easily overlooked here. They each own a different type of vehicle. So that's important because, so we know that these people can't own any other type of vehicle. So J can only own the sports car, K can only own the electric car, right? And H is a doctor. So with that information, but it's important just to remember that that is actually a really significant part. So which of the following must be true? So K is a teacher. Do we have anything to tell us that K is a teacher? Not really. I can't see anything there. So we know that the teacher does not own a motorbike. Maybe, but not for sure. J is a teacher. Again, definitely not, because actually no, that could be true, because teacher does not own a motorbike. Could be J, but I don't think it's definitely. I is a manager, or K is a manager. So I or K being the manager, right? So the manager owns a scooter, therefore it can't be K because they already own an electric car, and we said they own a different type of vehicle each. So that rules them out. And then obviously, if they own a scooter, it can't be J either, the manager. So, and obviously we know that H is a doctor, so that only leaves I available for somebody who owns a scooter and is not a doctor, right? That is quite a long and complex way of doing it, but that is the only way that you can do it, right? All you can do is, which of the following must be true? You have to just go through each of these and work them out like that. So again, this is just me, how I would write it on the board. Use better symbols. I'd use does not equal here. But this is one of the more complicated ones. Oh, in fact, let me just check that this is true. I think from what we've worked out there, I think that's got to be that I is the manager. Okay, correct answer C, brilliant. So let's see what it says here. From the information given, we can deduce that I is the manager and owns the scooter, as we know that H is the doctor, J and K own cars that are not owned by the manager. There we go. Response A is incorrect because K could be the teacher, but they could equally be the lecturer. Yeah, that's what you said. We're not definitely them. Response B is incorrect because J could be the teacher, but they could equally be the lecturer again. Response D is incorrect because K owns an electric car and the manager has a scooter. There we go. We said that as well. As we are looking for the response, that must be true, that's a really important bit as well. We have to choose the response option that we are certain about. So that's the only one that we can say for definite. So yeah, well done. I'm surprised that I got all correct on this one. Like I say, if you saw the verbal reasoning one, you'd see that was definitely not the case. But some of these are the easier ones. Some of these are quite difficult. This one was difficult, and it takes time. And it's always about knowing what tool you need to employ in the circumstance, right? So this is where using the board is so key. So when you're practicing, have a paper and notepad handy and just get used to diving straight in. We saw 3 questions where I used the board here. And the first one is really important to draw the Venn diagram. The second is just, you can sketch out the seating arrangement like it says. And then this one, we just want to jot these things down. You could have done all these by one side, or the H, I, J, K. And then you could have done the professions, the D, M, T, L by the side. But I think it just helped to have it underneath because you've just got all of them there and you can slot them into what you know is what. And then just the little bits of information at the same time that are going to help you kind of make that inference. So that just comes with a bit of practice and a bit of knowing when to use the board and how to use it and what to put where, and to structure all these pieces of information to help you. So I hope you found that useful. And now I'm going to show you some free resources that are going to massively help with your UCAT prep. So well done for having a go at those. I hope that that's now got you into the mindset of how you should be approaching these decision-making questions for speed and for accuracy. Like I said, there are some free resources that you can use. So if you go to the FutureDoc website, there is a free resources page where you can get a UCAT guide that's going to give you the basics of what you need to do well. Also, if you want, there's a whole decision-making playlist here, or if you'd like our help specifically where we've helped 93% of our students get into their first choice university, check out this video here to find out exactly how we can help you do the same. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over in one of those videos.